opening bell. The first tick on the index coming through to you in just a bit. That's a good opening, you'd have to say, just like the mission, right? Zooming away like a rocket. 80
today
points.
You should have sent off to the moon or something.
I thought that was a little too cliche, but on the moon now. Well, the Nifty over the moon as well. Look at that. I mean, say 70 points higher now. 19,500 is something that's holding. And the mid-cap index up 0.7%. The bank Nifty in the green. So gotten off to a good start. Poetic start, actually, given the kind of celebrations that we had yesterday, right? The markets also, in their own way, celebrating. The Sensex up 240 points. Let's take a look at the big gainers. Adani Enterprises, Adani Ports in the green. Wipro, L&T up almost 1%. In fact, all of these companies that have been supplying for the Chandrayaan-3 mission or even remotely associated with it are doing pretty well, whether it's, MTAR Tech, L&T, BHEL, Midhani and the likes. We'll talk about that in a bit. Apart from that, IT stocks doing well. Tech Mahindra, Infosys in the green. LTI Mindtree in the green as well. Tata Motors, JSW Steel, Tata Consumer Products also holding up on the green line. In fact, barely any stocks that are in the red. By the way, there's a big deal on Manappuram that's happened. 11% equity has changed hands, so just keep an eye out on that. And Coforge, of course, the deal is done now. So 25% equity changed hands, Bearings exiting entirely. So Coforge is the other one that we're looking at this morning. But apart from that, it's a decent opening. The action really is in the mid-cap index. Just look at that. Flying away now, 300 points higher. That's where the focus should be.
Well, indeed, Sonia, you mentioned it, right? The Chandrayaan-related stocks, you had MTAR that's higher. But take a look at Paras Defense, that as well as higher. And Centrum Electronics as well, that's another one. So all of them up anything between 8 to around 15% after having a very good trading session yesterday. Max Financial, we were waiting a large trade. Nimesh had given us that buzz on D-Street Chatter. Well, that stock post the large trade is up close to around 6%. So that's done pretty well. You have a couple of other notable names. Snowman Logistics, the promoter entity, Gateway District Parks, has gone ahead and bought another 11 lakh shares. Remember, just a month or so ago, they had increased their stake. And now they've bought another 11 lakh shares odd. The street likes that. That only amounts to 0.7%, but that one has opened up with a gain of close to around 3%. Suzlon makes a fresh 52-week high, so that one's moving from strength to strength. And Vascon Engineering, well, that got a letter of acceptance worth around 605 crore rupees from Bihar Medical Services and Infrastructure. So that explains why that smaller name is up 8%. Atul Auto, Societe Generale, well, they bought close to around 0.7% in the company. Yesterday, the stock was up. And today as well, it opens in the green with a gain of around 3%. A couple of large trades took place. Sonia mentioned Manappuram. So that stock, in fact, is higher and is lower now as we speak. But Coforge, post that trade taking place, the 25% odd equity, the selling overhang is out of the way. Explains why that stock is zoomed up close to around 3%. Just pull up the intraday chart. It's at the high point of the day. 1.5 crore shares changing hands, close to around 7,300 crores odd of equity changing hands. And that one's off to the races. Intraday chart comes up, tells you the picture. Prashant.
Coforge had actually come off over the last 3-4 days. Maybe the market had some inkling or whatever. But 5 days back, it was at 5,400. From 5,400, it had sold off to about 4,850 or so, yesterday's low. So it's kind of making its way back up a little bit. So 5,000 plus on Coforge. Just a few other names before we, go any further. So, I was mentioning how all the Adani Group stocks got smashed yesterday in the last 60 minutes. They're recovering. So Adani Enterprises is up 3%. I can spot Adani Power, which is up 4.5%. At least these are the two which come up with volumes right now. I think we mentioned Paras Defense. Paras Defense is up 13%. And it's a number 3 volume traded stock, not in defense, but in the market. So huge volumes on Paras Defense, and it's zooming up. Well, MTAR Tech we mentioned, definitely 7.5% higher. Max Financial is the other one, right? I mean, 6% up on Max Financial, 931 is where that one is. That's a big mover. Max Financial has been an underperformer even within insurance, which is not as a sector done very well. Midhani has, of course, looking up. Suzlon is slowly inching up. It was stuck at about that 20-ish level after doubling, but now at about 22.35. So starting, move. I noticed yesterday as well. Atul Auto had this massive move yesterday. I think Atul Auto from 377 day before yesterday closed at 440. Big move, and it's starting about 3% higher, although Already from the day's opening high, it's lost a little bit. Indian Overseas Bank is up 3%. First of the PSU names that I'm seeing on the list here this morning. Ease My Trip starts about 3% in the green. There is Titagarh, which is up 3%. Ujjivan Small Finance Bank is up about 2.5%. And then, but volumes will start to taper off. Maybe one more name, which is Mapma India, which is coming up with about a 3%, 3.5% pop right now. The big outperformer over the last many days, which is Linde India, that is seeing a bit of a cooling off. It's down 3%. Stock run up very sharply in a 3 or 4 session. And GMDC is the other one, which spiked about 10% yesterday, maybe a little bit more. It's coming off a little bit, just 1% odd pullback on volume. So just pointing that out. Sonia?
I just want to point out one theme, right, that's played out really well this year and come back in a big way is this whole home improvement theme.
Yeah.
So Polycab, for example, has now hit a fresh high and it's up 100% this year. So it's doubled this year, Polycab, at about 5141 rupees. Phenomenal mover there. Finolex Industries is the other one. It's, at a fresh 52-week high as well. And we've been talking about real estate demand and how it's come through in a big way. There is, just coming back from Bangalore, right, there is rapid urbanization in Bangalore. I mean, it's breathtaking to see. It's also concerning because the green cover has gone down so much. Yeah. But so many of these new projects that have come out, whether it's from Brigade, whether it's from Prestige, selling out like hotcakes. So there's somebody who's got to supply the cables, the wires, the taps, faucets. So, I mean, all of these stocks doing really well.
Besides the fundamental reason for Polycab as well as Tata Communications, I was talking about that MSCI review in November. These two are the highly probable names that come in there. So that could be another reason that, Polycab as well as Tata Communications in the build-up to that rejig that happens in November, they could be further in focus. Besides the fundamental reason, you have a technical reason as well to back them up.
On a lighter note, does Polycab need any reason to? It's like absolutely crazy, right? I mean, the outperformance, not a few years back, was $500. I mean, and 5,000 now. Ipca Labs, I mean, I think this will just quickly put the stock price up and take a look at what's happening there. So Ipca is up about 2% or so. There is this news as well. US FDA has classified the Piparia unit as voluntary action indicated. Piparia unit in compliance with current GMP practices. We'll have Ekta join us in a bit for more on this.